So we just kind of, so this is a close-up. So, you know, all the victorious armies march through there, and the Tour de France ends at the Arc de Triomphe. It's kind of one of the grandest monuments. This is the Champs-Élysées. At dusk on our first day, you can see a little bit of the Ferris wheel that's at the other end, Place de la Concorde. And this is just shops along the Champs-Élysées. Oh, there's a cat. It's an animal kingdom out here. So, just some repeat. This was kind of at dusk. You see, that's at the other end of the Champs-Élysées, the Place de la Concorde. And this is just walking across one of the bridges at night. You can see the Eiffel Tower in the background. There's all these boats that go along the Seine, touring. This is the Louvre. So this is the Louvre Museum from across the Seine. The Louvre was actually originally a castle for the French king and queen. And after the French Revolution, when they executed all the royalty, they made it public, and they turned it into the state museum. But it's incredibly huge. I mean, it's grand. You can kind of see, this is just one end of it. It's kind of like like a U. I mean, there's another building on the other side, just as big, and then there's a big plaza in between, and that's basically all museum. Oh, that's the Louvre. Huge, dramatic museum, and it's just really grand inside because it's in the series of French palaces that were added over hundreds of different years. This is crossing over the bridge to. So what they did in the 1970s.
It looks like you were taking a photo of him in front of it.
It does, doesn't it?
I was wondering when she was going to do something. She was sitting there.
Cat fight.
My God.
So what building does that remind you of?
The Museum of Contemporary Art. I don't know.
How about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Oh yeah, that's what
Yeah, because same architect, I.M. Pei, he actually did the west wing of the National Gallery of Art, and he also did the entrance to the Louvre. So you know, the Louvre is these buildings that kind of surround this huge courtyard, and then in the 1980s, I.M. Pei designed the entrance. So basically, this pyramid is how you go in. You basically go in and then you go down, and then the entrance is in the bottom, below ground, and then you just, there's 3 wings of the museum, and each wing is probably, excluding the Metropolitan, which is almost as big, not quite, each wing is probably much bigger than any museum you could ever go to in the United States. It's just humongous. Really spectacular. So this is outside the Louvre. Again, some of the other buildings. So, you know, if you look, I mean, if you read, there's several works that are supposed to be kind of their top works there, and this is one of them, Winged Victory, which was, I actually just pulled it out because I hadn't seen it. It's called Winged Victory of Samothrace, and it was found on a tiny Greek island, and it depicts a Greek god descending from Olympus. So it's supposed to be kind of one of their top works. So just took some pictures. This is just going through one of the hallways in the Louvre. It's just chock full of. And I mean, you just walk forever in there. It's just really spectacular. That's the Mona Lisa. This is actually another famous one. I just kept this book out because I forgot what it was called. Um, yeah, this is called the Raft of. No, this isn't it. This isn't it. Never mind. I forgot what. This one was about the French Revolution, but and I read about it, but I forgot what the name of it was. This is just about the coronation of one of the. I don't know if it was Henry the 14th or one of the kings. Just some other random works. This is the sculpture hallway in the Louvre. This is actually very well known too. That's Venus de Milo, which 120 BC. Again, and I don't know why, but this is actually supposedly kind of the best. One of the most reproducible works of art in the world. It's just really spectacular. And then this is just in the sculpture garden. This is actually Notre Dame at night. I somehow hit my black white, but actually pictures came out kind of nice. This is the Pompidou Center. This was built in the 1980s and very much ridiculed, but now the people really like it. I call these gerbil tubes because this is kind of how you go up. And the top 3 floors, this is used for a variety of things, but the top 3 floors is the modern and contemporary art museum in Paris. But you have to take that with a grain of salt because there's also, there's a Picasso museum, there's a museum, the Tuileries, that has all impressionist stuff. But it's actually supposed to be, after MoMA in New York, the second best modern contemporary museum in the world. It's just really, it's kind of striking architecturally, just because it looks really weird. This is the Paris Opera House, Opera Garnier. It's really grand opera. That's actually where the story for Phantom of the Opera was based. It's in this area of Paris where you have just these grand department stores, some of the biggest ones in the world, just dramatic. And then this is Sacré-Cœur, which is another really famous cathedral. It's in Montmartre, which when it was built, or in the late 1800s, early 1900s, was in a suburb of Paris, and people used to go there to kind of unwind. And there was a big red light district. See, this is Montmartre here, the city of Paris. You can see it all from the hill. I mean, the striking thing is that it sits up on a hill. So from the top of Sacré-Cœur, you can see the whole city. So it's really cool, really striking. It's not as old. I think it was from the 1800s, but it's kind of striking, and just the location is really striking. And then, again, this neighborhood was kind of the around the turn of the 20th century, the kind of the clubby area of Paris. This is back. We were just walking back to our place. This is in that little island, Ile de la Cité, and this is now used as a government building. But this was initially built as another royal castle. Then it was turned into a prison. So this is actually where Marie Antoinette spent her last days before she went to the guillotine. It's a really striking building. This is just walking around Saint-Germain-des-Prés, which is the neighborhood where we stayed. That's the oldest church in Saint-Germain-des-Prés. This is another spectacular museum. This is called Musée d'Orsay, which is primarily impressionist. It's kind of late 1800s and 1900s. So a lot of they have a huge impressionist collection. They also have a huge collection of busts, of sculpture. What do you think this actually was not built as a museum? Any guesses what this was originally built as?
Some kind of station.
A railway station. It was initially built as a rail station for the Paris World's Fair of 1900, as was the Eiffel Tower, and a number of other buildings. But the train, it quickly became that the trains were too big for the station. It's trouble in River City. Hey, kitty. Shh.
Oh,
Get her away from the bread.
what are you doing? There's two cats out there, too. Get down.
So they turned it into a, into a museum. It's really spectacular. I mean, I would say probably on most lists, this is one of the top 5 or 6 museums in the world.
I love that.
This is actually the same, the Statue of Liberty in America was a gift from the French to the U.S. And the same French artist that did this is actually a small replica that was created by the same artist who created the real Statue of Liberty that hangs there. So the open area is all sculpture. And Tracy's got a bunch of pictures in the side halls. I did not take it myself. This is the day we went to have dinner in the Eiffel Tower. It's kind of a rainy afternoon. This is we had a really nice dinner. You kind of get a view of the entire city from there. And then this is actually, it was kind of interesting because when we went in, it was storming, not storming, but raining pretty hard, and we were actually just going to catch a cab home, and we walk out. It's a beautiful evening. The rain had stopped, and we ended up just walking all through the city instead of taking a cab back. Yeah, we walked to the Champs-Élysées, and then we had,
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was really
which was probably like a 45-minute walk, and then we had coffee there and dessert and so now this is in, yeah, Tracy's got more pictures, but because I didn't have the camera one day, and I took some on my iPhone. This is in Vienna. This is actually the big art museum in Vienna, which is actually a really cool building. They actually built 2 side-by-side buildings. They look the same. One is natural history, and one is the art museum, and really spectacular looking building. This is just walking around Vienna, just along the river. This is just the oldest Catholic church in Vienna, and that's what I've got. So that's kind of our pictures.
Nice.
Yeah. So I gotta organize everything together, and then I want to put load Tracy's, and I have some on my iPhone. So
We're going to put yours on mine.
Actually, Maggie's got a thing that allowed me to load it. Tell me one more time. I'll ask you tomorrow. But
It's called a card reader.
a card reader. That's what I need. So yeah.
It loaded from what, your phone?
No.
Camera?
You remember with my old computer, I was able to load the load it
Oh, that
directly,
little chip or whatever.
but I don't have that anymore.
But you can still load them. You have a cord somewhere.
Yeah, but I forgot how to do that. We couldn't figure it out, but we used their card reader.